to today's video! Hello and welcome to Sim.bc, where right now is 1913. Today is going to be a rather short video and I'm going to start with introducing the kind of, important concept of spoilers for the entire MCU. And yes, I am talking about this movie a day again. And why am I doing that? Well, because it's kind of the first review that I'm doing and I want to try it out in different contexts, in different old fashions, the non-spoilery review, the reaction, the podcast format, and now today with the short spoiler review, the short, concise method. And if you think that this is either really interesting or you think it's kind of short, and you can go to the podcast that I released as of yesterday, the April podcast that is kind of just a big spoilery review about Avengers Infinity War. But as I said, a big spoiler warning about all of the current or up to current MCU movies except Black Panther, because I haven't seen that. But I kind of assess that, Infinity War is going to pick up with some characters, so that's kind of a spoiler anyway. So yeah, so just spoilers alert for all of the MCU movies. And what are we getting into? Well, we're getting into the nitty-gritty, because now I can talk about who my favorite character in the movie is and why. And my favorite characters by far, it's not even in close in comparison, is Thanos himself. Why? Well, because he has so many good scenes. And there's one scene that I don't want to spoil, even though it's a spoiler review and people are probably talking about it, because there's lots of different, context, and there's lots of different theories out there that's revolving it. But you should go and watch that for yourself if you really want to spoil that. But it's something that you want to see for yourself. But it's Thanos' emotional moment where you can see that he's not just a big bad. He's actually someone who's opening his heart to someone else, and it's so good. You can see these many layers of the characters. But I guess that's, if I ain't gonna spoil it, then why is it doing in the spoiler review? And I totally understand. It's just something that I kind of discussed yesterday as well. Anyway, moving down from Thanos, because he is the big bad, right, of the movie. But is he bad, though? Because his philosophy is all about, I want to wipe out half of the life in the universe. And lo and behold, the guy actually does it. I mean, how many movies do you go and watch, except for, perhaps Empire Strikes Back, because I know how it's ending, right? Where you go in and you think, Nah, the bad guys, they're supposed to win, but no, they can't win, right? I mean, that's most movies, right? You go in with the mindset that, the bad guys is probably not gonna win this. They have all of the odds on their side, they have all this overwhelming power, but you just assume that the hero is in some way going to sweep in and save the day and break all the internal logic of the movie. Is that happening in this movie? No. It's amazing how it doesn't, because Thanos, he's out for the quest of collecting these 6 stones, the Infinity Stones, and put them in his gauntlet. And he actually does it. He actually does collect them all, and he snaps his fingers, as is talked about throughout the movie. And if you've read any comic books in accordance with the story, then you probably know this already, that is kind of a thing that is happening in the comics books as well. Thanos, taking his Infinity Gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones in it, snaps his fingers, half of light in the universe is out of the picture. Now in the comics, though, he does that to impress Mystery's death, I want to say, that hot chick in the hood or whatever. But in the MCU, he's doing it because to attain eternal balance, or universe-scaled balance, which I thought was kind of poetic, and it was kind of a nice thing, really. I mean, Thanos in this movie is trying to save the world. He's trying to save the universe and all these countless lives by sacrificing half of our life in the universe. Why? Well, because his entire idea is that if you let life itself run amok, then all of the resources will be exhausted. And it's kind of a debate going on all of the time in philosophy and in economics and in engineering, probably in all different fields. If you look at, the Swedish school, for instance, of course we have this idea that you shouldn't kill. Of course you shouldn't kill, in a human life you can't value that, really. And that is kind of the thing that they're tackling in the movie. Like, what is the cost of life? How do you value life? Because Thanos has this really fanatic approach towards, just wipe out half of the life at random, which means that, because that means that the other half can live a decent life and not just have to, starve to death. Which is kind of the idea that many people are talking about today as well, that we're too many people on Earth. can't we just get rid of half of the population or something like that? But of course that's ludicrous. I mean, of course that is the view of the villain. And you totally understand that, no, this is not the right way to think. You shouldn't think like that. But simultaneously, everybody is probably at some point, right, thought about this process. And they're also talking about life in other aspects. For instance, Captain America is talking to Vision and saying, you know, we don't deal in lives. Because they can blow up Vision, apparently, you know, Scarlet Witch can do that because she has some form of connection to the mind gem or to the gems overall. So she can blow up Vision. Or Vision's gems. And she says basically, I can't do it. But if it comes to blows, right, she's probably gonna do it. And she does. She blows up Vision, which is another amazing moment. Because first the reluctancy in blowing up Vision is showing the strong relationship between Vision and the Scarlet Witch. And then when she does finally do blow him up, that's just like even stronger. It makes this connection even more real. Because you can see her, you know, fighting against all the people in the Avengers team, all the heroes. She's like, no, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't following with this plan. It's stupid, yeah? I ain't gonna follow on this plan. No. But when it gets down to it, when it comes between choosing Vision or the entire, you know, the entire universe, half of life in the universe, she does blow him up. But unfortunately, Thanos has the time stone at that point. So he's just like, reverse time. Vision's back. The mind gem's back. Woo! Taking that all back. You know, the retcon stone or whatever you want to say. And by the way, wouldn't it be an amazing theory? I mean, it's a theory, but wouldn't it be amazing if in this movie, they're taking away half of life of the universe, but in the next movie, they're probably, you know, gonna get it back because people like Spider-Man is getting away, and people like Black Panther is a big social, you know, presence as a Black Marvel superhero, which is, you know, totally legit and all of it. I don't even know how to say that politically correct. I had the same problem yesterday. I mean, how do I phrase that so that it sounds like I'm really positive towards it? Because I am, but you can't really discuss it because it sounds weird. Anyway. There are lots of these superheroes. Let's just get away from that minefield, yeah? There's a lot of superheroes just going to be taken away who has confirmed sequels. For instance, Spider-Man 2. Kind of confirmed it's gonna be happening. So you probably know that all of these people are gonna come back in some way or another. But wouldn't it be amazing if the Fox Disney deals goes through and in the next movie, when they're resurrecting old people, right? When they're taking back old people, they can say that some little thing just went wrong. And now we're ending up with mutants on Earth. Wouldn't that be beautiful? And some of them are the Fantastic Four or whatever, but they could be classified as mutants, I guess, in order to just fit the MCU continuity. I mean, wouldn't that just be the most amazing way of introducing the X-Men? Probably not the most grandiose, amazing way, I'm sure, but it would be it would follow the internal logic of the MCU, which would be kind of nice. Anyway, not here to talk about that, but that would be an amazing theory because half of life in the universe does get wiped out. And I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but that's kind of a big deal because we were walking into this movie, me and a couple of mates, and we were like, well, you know, we probably ain't gonna do it. I mean, they probably don't have the balls to do it. I mean, will they really do it? Really? Well, no. And some people that I went and watched this movie with never read a comic book. Some of them haven't even seen all the MCU movies. And I'm, you know, on the top of the ladder, done it all, right? So I was going in there and I was like, you know, this and this and this and this and this character is probably having this and this and this relation. And that means that they're probably going to do this and this. Didn't happen. But, you know, still had I argued that I had an understanding. Anyway, something else that we were talking about. More than this shocking ending that nobody actually suspected. I mean, I think many people thought that that was what was supposed to happen, but I think that a lot of people thought, yeah, that was supposed to happen, but there's no way they're ever gonna do that. So based on that, it was so obvious, it was still so not obvious for all people who knew about that being a potential ending. So it was beautiful. Anyway, something else was, we were discussing the amount of death tolls, right? Because as I entered or began the podcast with yesterday, one of the big questions that many people had going into this movie is like, who's gonna die? I mean, is Iron Man gonna die? Is Captain America gonna die? Are they gonna kill off any of the original Avengers? Are they going to kill off some of the new people? What's happening? Let me tell you this, it's easier to say who didn't die when you go out from this movie. And that's including, though, the finger snap and half of life in the universe getting erased, which probably gonna come back at some point during the course of the next movie. But if you don't count for that, there's still a lot of people who dies in this movie. And it's crazy because you're thinking like, oh, it's the MCU movies, it's a Marvel movie. I kind of understand the tone they're going with because, you know, Ragnarok, a relatively serious movie. tackling some heavy themes, but they're still made into a comedy, which makes it all fine, all good, all dandy. Haven't seen Black Panther, but you know, when you're looking through Iron Man 1 up until Black Panther, or for my case, and up until Thor Ragnarok, you can see that there is a way they're displaying the tone here. I mean, sure, there are a lot of problems going on. People are dying left and right, and you know, they're just contextualized damage, right? There's collateral, but in this movie, they're really addressing death in a way which I didn't think they were gonna do. I mean, within the first 5 minutes of this movie, they're just establishing that this is a very different movie from the, from the regular Marvel movies. For instance, they're killing Heimdall straight out the back, which put that entire Soul Stone theory to rest within the first 5 minutes. So people are, rooting for that idea. They would be gonna be like, oh, okay, I see. Yeah, that's not how you're gonna go about it, huh? Okay. By the way, most of the theories I saw out there, I didn't see a single theory confirming what they did with the Soul Stone in the movie. Ain't even gonna say what that it was, because it was so good with Thanos' moment at that point. Something that you should really see and experience for yourself. Anyway, they kill Heimdall in the first 5 minutes, and that's not the only character they kill. No. They begin with like walking over a couple, lots of dead bodies who's just, clearly displayed to be both dead, and the Ebony Maw is just walking over them, talking about how great Thanos is, and you're just like, what? I mean, I can probably summarize the reaction that I had going into this movie. There were all of these, they kill Loki as well within the first 5 minutes, and pisses off the Hulk and kicks him out, and they destroy Thor, not killing him, but they totally beat him. So it's emotional. It's an emotional roller coaster, right? But one of the things that's kind of interesting is that kind of my reaction to the entire thing was that if you imagine that there are these cinema commercials, cinema commercials, that's what it's called in English, in the beginning of the movie. So you're sitting there like, you're discussing with your mates, you're like, this is gonna be all good, it's gonna be all amazing, it's gonna be all great, and then count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or at least it does it in Sweden, and then the movie starts, and you're just like, oh, what's this interesting ship that's partly destroyed, and then they cut inside the ship, and you're just like, but it can be... No! I mean, that is basically my reaction from watching the movie. It was like, no. Because, as I said, the tone is set quite early in the movie. The first second of the movie, I'd say, is the beginning setting the tone of like, this is not like all the other MCU movies. Just you watch, just you wait. Because there are a lot of, there's even torture at times. I mean, the Ebony Maw is torturing Doctor Strange, and Thanos, I would argue, is torturing both Thor and Loki in the beginning as well, which is kind of like, what is happening right now? Isn't this a children's movie? Anyway, this is my short spoiler review, and I'm just gonna say that all of these things that I've been discussing, if it isn't abundantly clear, I think that this is a really good movie. I mean, I'm giving it a 9.5 to 9.8, depending on how much bias I would, put in there, of a 10, right? It's, top tier in my opinion, like a 98 of 100, right? In my opinion, my favorite characters were easily Spider-Man, Thanos, Gamora, and Thor. And just gonna say, when Thor gets his new hammer and just flies up into the sky, when he's back on Earth, it's so good. It looks so pretty. The CGI and the light and the effects and everything is just like, where have this been all my life? Why can't I get a Thor movie with this in it that looks this good? Because it looks amazing. Anyway, Thor also has the the greatest Thor-Thanos relationship and the kind of interaction between those two characters, and when just Thor generally speaks about Thanos, it's hilarious but still serious, which is also kind of a good thing. They strike a really good balance. It's like jokes on the one hand, but you're joking or something that's serious that you have been displayed in the early parts of the movie when the characters die that is serious. You're just like, I want to laugh, but I know it's true. You see, that kind of a relationship, or at least that's how I took it. That's going to be the end of that. I really like the movie. As I said, 9.8 out of 10. Wow, really good. And if you want to have more in-depth opinions and thoughts about the movie from me, my opinions and thoughts, you can go check out the April podcast that I'm going to. Link in the description below of this video so that it's easy to access. Anyway, mates, have a nice one. I'll see you tomorrow with a new movie, with a new video. Have a nice one, mates. See ya.